Three explosions in State Line, Nevada within 15 minutes of each other are prompting an investigation today and this week and traffic concerns. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Ryan Kern. News 4's Kristen Edwards joins us in studio tonight with new surveillance footage from those explosions. Kristen? Well, breaking news tonight, 3 people are injured after a shooting in South Reno. It happened near Yorie Park and police say the suspect is still at large. Authorities are still on the scene investigating this hours after the shooting happened. The Facebook private information sharing scandal hits close to home. The Republican told Zuckerberg his daughter and 6 of his staff are affected by the breach. He asked Zuckerberg if he considers them and 87 million others victims or not. Well, fire investigators say they know what caused the house explosion last month that happened while the tenant was still inside. Developing tonight, sources tell NBC News President Trump will pardon Scooter Libby, the former chief of staff to Vice President Dick Cheney. Back in 2007, Libby was convicted of several charges, including lying to the FBI about the leak of a former CIA officer's identity. Well, the Truckee River is forecasted to rise several feet by the weekend thanks to an atmospheric river that's expected to slam our region. Let's get straight to the new details coming out tonight. 2 law enforcement officials identified the suspect as 39-year-old San Diego woman Nasim Ogdam. Investigators now say there's no evidence that she knew the victim she shot at or that she was specifically targeting them. 3 people were shot and wounded, and police say she then shot and killed herself. More than 40 Lemon Valley residents are opting into a class action lawsuit against the city of Reno. They're suing the city for damages after Swan Lake flooded last winter. Inside of a church, lawyers met with those living in the area tonight. News 4's Kristen Edwards was there and is now live in Lemon Valley to tell us more details on this lawsuit. Thank you, Kristen. New video shows a sheriff's car hitting a woman and driving away during a protest in Sacramento this past weekend. It happened during a demonstration against police who shot Stephon Clark multiple times in his grandparents' yard several weeks ago. Well, breaking news tonight, a controversial question just added to the 2020 census that opponents are calling illegal. Here's a live look at the White House. Late tonight, the U.S. Commerce Department says the 2020 census will include a question about citizenship status, and it's already facing potential legal trouble. Sheriff's Office officials not releasing the identity of the suspect at this time, saying they still have to notify next of kin. That could come tomorrow. But what we do know about that shooter is that he acted alone and had little to no plan at all. Of course, a heartbreaker for Nevada Wolfpack and Wolfpack fans all across northern Nevada, and those, of course, who traveled to Atlanta. The score came down to right at the end. 69-68 was the final for Chicago Loyola, and Nevada came back in this game and they lost the exact same way that they won the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. The regional county hazmat team responded after Story County fire. They have since left. We watched them drive off and leave the Tesla property behind us at around 5:10, and as you said, the cleanup process is now underway. Let's talk about that chemical spill, though. It happened around 12:15 this afternoon, and it actually happened outside of the Tesla building. Yeah, Joe, 1,000 acres have burned so far. That's according to the Sparks Fire Department and Chris Maples. We want to show you right now the Earthstone fire is in 2 separate places right now. You're looking at the one area to the south of Golden Eagle Park, the regional park here in Sparks. There is structure protection in place in this area. Quick update on tonight's game. It is still scheduled for an on-time first pitch of 6:35. We'll see how long that lasts as this weather starts to come through the Reno area. Yeah, Joe, this is not Richie West Jr.'s first time recently inside a courtroom in the federal courthouse behind us. You may remember 2 weeks ago during Dr. Rand's sentencing, West Jr. testified at that hearing talking in favor of Dr. Rand, saying that the doctor helped him feel better. And it actually doesn't matter if you want to or not. Legally, you have to. The arrows were only part of the system. In the middle of the concrete stood a 50-foot tall light tower with a shed behind that. Now that we know of, only 2 still stand here in Nevada, including one we're hiking to right now in Fernley. Another issue here from the outside that's actually new after this last winter. If you look down on the ground, you can see chunks of the chimney falling off. And if it needs a full replacement, that of course will be costly. So just how similar or different is Austin of the 70s, 80s, and 90s to Reno Sparks of 2017? Our own Weather Authority Chief Meteorologist Colin Jackson lived in Austin in the 90s, and Edible Reno Tahoe magazine publisher Jackie Goodman lived there in the 80s. Both were kind enough to sit down with us and compare the two.
Would you like to help support our disabled veterans today?
8 hours a day.
Well, why don't you buy 2 more?
7 days a week.
Don't be scared of the camera. Come on.
For 3 straight months out of the year.
You guys have a great day.
If you're heading to Sportsman's Warehouse, you might as well come with cash.
Almost 20 years ago, someone helped me out. And since that time, I've been paying it forward. We appreciate you.
Vietnam veteran Frank Greenwood has done this for 12 years.
You want 2 more?
No.
Frank's always out there hustling, really helping out the DAV.
Raffling off these prizes, making serious cash.
My goal is $1,000 a day. It started with a boat. We raffled off the boat. The guy won it, gave the boat back to us, and it took us 3 months to sell the boat. Nobody wanted to buy it. And then from there, it's grown to what it is today.
Greenwood and the Disabled American Veterans RENO Chapter 1 have 10,000 tickets to sell.
Well, actually, I didn't even have any cash on me, so I went inside, I bought a fire starter, and then I got some cash back.
With many other beneficiaries.
Honor Flight's first on the list. TMC, UNR, WNC, Nevada Veterans Coalition in Fernley, GI Dogs. We feed the homeless 4 times a year.
And if you think the weather is unbearable.
It was a hell of a lot hotter in Vietnam. It's what I do. You know, I have a purpose in the morning. I have a reason to get up because I know out there somewhere there's a veteran that needs assistance or needs my help, and I want to be there when that time comes.
How did you talk me into this?
Nevada's Clown Motel is now world famous, and right when we arrived in Tonopah, we quickly realized.
Oh, no, that's the cemetery.
There's the cemetery.
Oh my gosh.
Aside from the 600 plus clowns,
I can't believe we're doing this.
how this property obtained its reputation.
There's a cemetery right next to it.
Opened in the 1980s, the Clown Motel has always been true to its theme, and when we met up with owner Bob Perschetti to figure out exactly why, we discovered the lobby.
This place exists because of a man by the name of Leroy David. He owned this property, and him and his sister. Their father was buried in the old cemetery here, Clarence David, and they wanted to do something close to in memory of him and close to him.
It just so happened the family owned a massive clown collection and brought it here. And when Perschetti bought it in 1995, he only added to it.
How unique is this place? I mean, you don't see anything like this anywhere.
Well, it's especially in a historic mining town.
History that many believe haunts the Clown Motel today. The 1901 to 1911 Tonopah Cemetery sits next door. And in 1911, the Tonopah Belmont mine fire rocked the town. 17 miners died and are buried here.
Clown Motel.
Marlena Dufour is the night clerk. With all the recent attention here, she's hearing more and more voices. We are going to walk the graveyard. Do people do that?
Yeah, people do it all the time. Just make sure, you know, that you don't have something show up on your camera. Mist will show up, an apparition may show up, so just giving you a heads up.
That's normal. People have experienced things at night when they walk through there.
It may happen, okay?
Okay.
So.
Okay. We're only here once. Let's do it.
You didn't say we were going to be walking through a graveyard at night outside the Clown Motel in Tonopah.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Oh, man.
And after just several minutes of walking the grounds, I got this extremely cold chill across my entire body that we hadn't felt the entire night. And I haven't felt since. It was a rush. Came right on me. And that was all I experienced. But, oh, it just came up again.
In the early 1900s, they had a plague from Europe. That and a lot of the miners, you'll see on the gravestones, a lot of the miners died from the plague. So those first few years were pretty rough in Tonopah, and most of the people were buried there.
Perschetti has plans, hosting a clown convention, creating a clown theme park, and more expansion to the motel. But at the end of the day, he says it's time to move on.
I don't want to be buried in that graveyard. I'll be close to the clowns that way, but I'd like to see this continue as a Clown Motel, and I'd like to see them improve it and make it nicer and bigger.
We've got a manhunt underway for the person who started this fire.
The way we fight fires and find missing people are both close to revolutionary changes thanks to drones. the most modern of technology. But the one to change the game for search and rescue and bring Nevada along for the ride now cannot be found.
This is part of that marker. Today is that day where people are to 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and say, this are those threshold moments that built the foundation for this new industry.
August 2014, Governor Brian Sandoval introduces California's Ashima devices at Reno State Airport. They're moving to Reno and showed us their prototype. A glimpse into the future of fire rescue, police aid, heavy-duty industrial marine work, and global security. By 2018, Ashima will add 400 jobs in Reno, paying an average of $70,000 each.
And in their development process, they ran into a few glitches that any development company would run into that eventually caused them to, shut down operations or shrink back to where they started.
Now the company has no presence in their downtown Reno location.
Hello, you can buy this number.
And the phone number is available. Same story in their Southern California office, and the latest Twitter and Facebook posts date back to 2 years ago.
Startups tend to fail, and Ashima was in essence a startup.
Edon expects to lose 1 out of every 20 companies that come to the region. But back in 2014, the state was awarded Area Development Magazine's Golden Shovel Award. That's for economic development. That year, Tesla invested $5 billion into the Nevada market. The business IT company Switch also committed to the state with $225 million. And the third largest investment of 2014, Ashima Devices, at $75 million. A lot of promise for search and rescue, never fulfilled. But that doesn't mean they took the industry down with them.
There are many other startups here that are succeeding and growing, and we're seeing a lot more of that startup activity, which is changing the face and the economy of this region. So it's pretty exciting.